So I'm going to explain a little bit about this slide, and then it's going to jump over to Jessica, so we're going to go back and forth. So sorry if that's confusing. When we are strength-based, it is easier to accommodate what excess needs and are. So what needs to be better and ensure access? So basically, for an example, I'm in a wheelchair, and so physical location and transportation is a barrier for me. And not a lot of people think about that. So having just that extra knowledge to think about accessibility. And that could be different forms, not just a wheelchair accessibility. So location, having extra space to navigate a wheelchair and the transportation. For process and procedures and rules. So brainstorming individuals or in small groups to assist and understand ideas or generate ideas like active processing.
We also have to think about the accessibility of materials. And Destiny, you alluded to this as a really important role on the team. So we have to think about the content, the tools that we're using, and making sure that we have different formats. So for example, not just text. If we have text, we might also use pictures, or we might have some audio to go with the text. We also have to think about cognitive accessibility. So when we are presenting concepts, we want to make sure that we present one idea at a time and give breaks for people, because if you're really working hard to understand a new concept, then it might be hard to sustain your attention for a really long time. So then you might need to give some breaks and a chance to refresh and to come back. It's also really important to engage people in a way that's meaningful. So doing that in partnership with people with disabilities, and like Destiny said, breaking out in small groups and having conversations, or even doing activities as a way to brainstorm. We also have to think about how we interact with each other. Some people might prefer talking one-on-one. Some people might be listening, and just because they don't share anything doesn't mean that they're not attending and part of that group. They might really want to listen as their role. And we also sometimes might need to narrate or read content for people.
That kind of falls into our communication. So having accessibility like CART, language, and speed, and also ASL for people, just having that accessibility available, like how Zoom has captions and stuff like that. That is so helpful for some people with disabilities, and having the time and the patience when using that kind of stuff. Also sensory, so lights, sounds, smells. Computer screens can be sometimes a trigger, so not always using your webcam and they're following along by listening is also helpful. So they go hand in hand with each other. And so basically this slide is explaining like the accessibility that kind of needs to be aware for the whole team.